but I have a few more questions that I would just like to run through with you.
Yeah.
I mean, fine, that sounds all well and good, but how does it work in a practical sense in my classroom? Like, how do I decide what to teach in class and what goes online? Especially, you know, if I teach a heavy-based engineering subject, what exactly goes online and what can I do face-to-face? Maybe you can just enlighten me on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's been debated a lot in the literature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people talk about the 70-30 rule, 60-40 rule. The truth of it is that people saying these kind of things really don't fully understand how it kind of works. Essentially, the question is, as I said earlier, is what are the kind of affordances of the face-to-face situation and what are the affordances of the online environment? And it's a question of what are the types of learning outcomes involved, you know, the students that you're teaching and sometimes the resources you've got. I mean, let me give you, for example, if students just simply have to memorise a lot of factual knowledge and develop key understanding, or whether it's learning a procedural set of kind of computer skills that are easy to demonstrate online, then the kind of point is it can all be fully online. Okay. Remember, it's about effectiveness and efficiency. However, in my kind of subject area, kind of psychology, where you might want to be teaching subtle aspects of communication, body language, so you're doing quite a lot of role plays, then it may be better to do that in the face-to-face situation in the sense that it's going to be more effective. Now, you can still, as we'll see, you know, later, you know, if we continue the conversation, that even in the face-to-face situation, where the affordances are better, where you want to have that interaction, that face-to-face spontaneity, the ability to really get people engaging immediately, which is a big affordance of the face-to-face situation. You can still make videos of those situations, put them on an online environment, and students can look at those videos. So it's a question of degree. The question then becomes, it's about efficiency, that it might be better to do some things face-to-face, but if you're on tight budgets or you've got a distance learning situation, then even though it's not as effective, it's more efficient. So the answer is how much to teach online and how much to teach in a face-to-face situation is dependent really on just the affordances offered by those two mediums. And how effective and efficient they are.
So, okay, at least I'm comforted to know that there's no silver bullet to this question, because I was afraid that there's actually this list of rules that I would need to follow faithfully. So, just to reiterate, essentially, would it be fair to say that if I would have a lot of things that would require students to do a lot of memory work, I would tend to put this more online and do a little bit more facilitating, more active learning in my classroom with my students for my subject area?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still see lecturers teaching very factual knowledge, you know, these types of windows, what windows are made up on, characteristics of windows, and they're doing this in the lecture in the afternoon, pathologically boring. That can be done much better, more effectively, more efficiently online. It's a total waste of everybody's time. But to look at some difficult concepts, with the students there in that situation, you can still be using technology in the classroom. But the very fact that it's online or in the face-to-face doesn't mean that the two are inseparable. You can be using the technologies while you're in the classroom. It should be when they add value in terms of effectiveness and efficiency to the learning process.
Okay, so I'm fairly confident about my work that I do face-to-face with my students in class, but I'm a little bit hesitant about the online part. Maybe we can just talk a little bit about, is there a different pedagogy that I need to apply when I'm doing online learning for my students?
That's a great question. And you know, there are people going around talking about online pedagogy and all this stuff. Again, it's a load of nonsense. There isn't such thing as online pedagogy. There's simply good pedagogy that is adapted to the online environment. It's about, you know, it's like, say, football. The World Cup's going on, and the English team haven't displayed a lot of good football. But yeah, a good side can adapt to kind of different conditions. But the bottom line is you've got to pass the ball accurately, you know, whatever the pitch conditions, wherever you're playing, and you've got to score goals. And scoring goals involves striking the ball with your foot or your head, unless you're Diego Maradona. right? So in the sense it's exactly the same with the online environment. What you've got to recognise is it is different. It is online, which means that the person may not be able to respond immediately.
Right.
That it's a different, if you like, visceral sensory experience. So you need to adapt what you do to the online environment. For example, in the face-to-face situation, I can keep a very quick feedback kind of communication with you. Do you understand, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, you've got to do that on the online environment, but it's not as easy to do as it is into the face-to-face situation. So you've got to make sure that the navigation that you use, that the words that you use are very clear and tailored to the students that you have.
Right.
But you may be working in an asynchronous mode rather than, you know, the synchronous face-to-face situation. So it's basically adapting good pedagogy to the way the online environment works to get the same results as best you can.